The conference room of Nexus Biotech felt smaller than usual that morning. Maybe it was the tension crackling through the air, or maybe it was just the weight of what I knew was coming. I sat at my usual place, watching my brother Michael strut around like he already owned the place. He'd even brought an entourage, 2 lawyers in expensive suits and our father, looking proud as always when it came to his golden boy. Emma, Michael's smile was all teeth and no warmth. Thanks for gathering everyone on such short notice. I nodded slightly, glancing around at my board members' confused faces. These were people who'd believed in my vision 5 years ago when Nexus was just an idea sketched on coffee-stained napkins. Now we were on the verge of revolutionizing cancer treatment with our patented nanotech delivery system. And my brother had come to steal it all. As you all know, Michael continued, straightening his Italian silk tie, Vertex Pharmaceuticals has been looking to acquire promising biotech startups. What you don't know is that I've been named their new director of acquisitions. My stomach tightened. So that's how he was playing this. I've reviewed Nexus's financials. He gestured to one of his lawyers, who began distributing folders. While the research is interesting, the company needs serious capital to move forward. Capital that only Vertex can provide. Dr. Sarah Martinez, my head of research, spoke up. We're actually quite close to phase AITA trials. Yes, Michael waved her off. But let's be realistic. Emma's little startup needs adult supervision now. I didn't react to the condescension in his voice. I'd heard it all my life. When I chose molecular biology over business school. When I spent my inheritance on lab equipment instead of a downtown condo. When I missed his wedding because I was finalizing our first successful trial. The offer is generous. His lawyer stepped forward. Vertex will absorb all current staff and research. Emma will receive a comfortable consulting position, of course. Of course, I echoed softly. Michael's smile widened. Your little startup is mine now, sis. But don't worry, I'll take good care of your science project. I watched his lawyer open the ownership documents with a flourish. The room went silent as they began reviewing the papers. Then the silence changed, deepened. Michael's smile faltered. There must be some mistake. Is there? I asked, speaking for the first time. These patents. His lawyer shuffled through the papers frantically. They're all registered to Emma Thorne. Personally, I finished for him. Not to Nexus Biotech. To me. The room erupted in whispers. Michael's face turned red. That's impossible. The company licenses the patents from me. I cut in smoothly. A detail you might have noticed if you'd done proper due diligence instead of assuming your little sister was too naive to protect herself. I stood up, smoothing my simple black dress. Every breakthrough, every innovation, every piece of intellectual property that makes our delivery system revolutionary. I own them. Personally, the agreement was filed with the patent office 3 years ago. Dad. Michael turned to our father, who had been unusually quiet. Did you know about this? Dad looked older suddenly, and strangely uncertain. I never checked. You said you had reviewed everything. Oh, he reviewed what he wanted to see, I said calmly, picking up my tablet. Just like he always has. But while you were both busy underestimating me, I was busy building safeguards. I turned to the board. Ladies and gentlemen, given this attempted hostile takeover, I move to suspend this meeting. We'll reconvene once our legal team has reviewed Mr. Thorne's proposal. The board members nodded, gathering their things quickly. They'd seen enough corporate drama to know when to make a strategic exit. You can't do this. Michael's voice cracked slightly. Vertex has already announced the acquisition to major shareholders. Actually, I smiled properly for the first time that day. I can. And I did. But please, feel free to explain to Vertex how you failed to verify patent ownership before attempting to seize control of $1 billion technology. I walked to the door, then paused. Oh, and Michael? That consulting position you so generously offered me. I turned back to face him. I decline. The sound of his expensive briefcase hitting the floor followed me out into the hallway. My phone buzzed. A text from Dr. Martinez. That was magnificent. But what now? Now, I typed back. Now we show them exactly what they tried to steal. Because while Michael had been playing corporate games, I'd been changing the world. And I was just getting started. I stepped into my private lab, the real heart of Nexus Biotech, the place where I'd spent countless nights developing the technology they thought they could simply take. On the main screen, our latest trial results glowed with promise. Results that would revolutionize cancer treatment. Results that belonged to me. My phone buzzed again. Dad, this time. We need to talk. I let it go to voicemail. They'd had years to talk, to listen, to understand what I was building. Now they could wait while I finished what I'd started. Because sometimes the quietest person in the room isn't quiet because they have nothing to say. They're quiet because they're too busy changing the world to waste words on those who never bothered to listen. And I had a world to change. The next morning, Vertex Pharmaceuticals stock opened down 15%. Headlines screamed about the failed acquisition and undisclosed patent complications. I watched the chaos unfold from my lab while reviewing our latest trial data. Dr. Thorne, my assistant's voice came through the intercom. Your father is here again. And there's something else. What is it, Julia? The NIA just called. They want to fast-track our approval process. Apparently, someone sent them our complete trial results. I smiled, thinking of the encrypted files I transmitted last night. How interesting. Tell Dad I'll give him 10 minutes. He looked smaller somehow, standing in my lab. The great Thomas Thorne, venture capitalist extraordinaire, surrounded by equipment he'd once dismissed as a waste of money. The board of Vertex wants Michael's resignation, he said without preamble. Not my problem. Emma, please. He's your brother. I carefully placed a slide under the microscope. Was he my brother when he tried to steal my company? When he called my life's work a science project? He didn't understand. No, I adjusted the focus, watching cancer cells die in real time. He didn't bother to understand. Neither did you. I admit, I underestimated. Everyone underestimated me, Dad. That was their mistake. I straightened up. Do you know what this is? I gestured to the microscope. He shook his head. This is the future of cancer treatment. Targeted nanoparticles that can deliver medication directly to cancer cells while leaving healthy tissue untouched. 0 side effects. 94% efficacy rate in trials. That's impossible. No, that's science. The science you and Michael were too busy mocking to notice. I pulled up our trial results on the main screen. The NIAID is fast-tracking our approval. Within 6 months, this treatment will be saving lives. My God, he whispered, finally understanding. Emma, your 10 minutes are up. I turned back to my work. Julia will show you out. Wait, he pulled out a folder. Michael asked me to give you this. A new offer from Vertex. Triple the original amount. I took the folder and without opening it, fed it into the lab's paper shredder. Tell Michael he can keep his money. I have something better. I have results. After he left, I checked my phone. 3 missed calls from Michael, 2 from Mom, and 1 text from Dr. Martinez. Big pharma vultures circling. 5 acquisition offers this morning. I typed back. Decline them all. We're staying independent. Because independence was what I'd fought for all along. The freedom to pursue my research my way without corporate interference or family politics. My phone rang again. An unknown number. The voice on the other end was familiar. Dr. Thorne? This is Dr. Sandra Collins from the NIH Review Board. We've examined your trial data. It's revolutionary. Thank you. We'd like to put you on the fast-track program. Your treatment could be approved by year's end. I looked at the microscope screen, at the cancer cells being systematically destroyed by my nanoparticles. That would be acceptable. There's something else. She paused. The Nobel Committee has requested your complete research documentation. I sat down slowly. The Nobel Prize. The ultimate validation. I'll have everything sent over today. After hanging up, I walked to the window of my lab. From here, I could see the Vertex Pharmaceuticals building where Michael was probably cleaning out his office. In the reflection, I caught sight of myself. Not the quiet little sister anymore, but Dr. Emma Thorne, revolutionary scientist. My phone buzzed with a text from Michael. You've ruined me. Happy now? I typed back. I didn't ruin you. Your arrogance did that. But don't worry. When we cure cancer, I'll make sure you get a discount. Because sometimes success isn't about proving others wrong. It's about proving yourself right. And I was about to prove something that would change the world. 6 months later, I stood at the podium of the National Institutes of Health press conference. Camera flashes erupted as I announced the FDA's approval of our treatment. Behind me, a screen showed real-time imaging of our nanoparticles destroying cancer cells. This isn't just a treatment, I concluded. This is a revolution in oncology, and it's only the beginning. The questions came rapid fire. Dr. Thorne, how does it feel to be the youngest scientist nominated for the Nobel Prize in Medicine? Will Nexus Biotech remain independent? Any response to Vertex Pharmaceuticals' recent bankruptcy filing? I handled each one with calm precision, just as I'd handled every challenge in my lab. But the last question made me pause. Dr. Thorne, your brother Michael Thorne was recently quoted saying this technology was stolen from him. Any comment? I smiled slightly. The patent office records speak for themselves. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have patients waiting. Back in my office, Dr. Martinez was waiting with our latest results. The survival rate is holding at 96%. It's unprecedented. Good. I reviewed the data. Start preparing the documentation for our next project. Already done. She hesitated. Your mother's here. I looked up. Where? Reception. She's been there all morning, watching the press conference on TV. I sighed. Sent her in. Mom hadn't changed much. Still elegant. Still perfectly put together. But something was different in her eyes as she looked around my office at the awards, the patents, the evidence of everything she'd missed. I saw you on TV, she said softly. You were amazing. Thank you. Michael's not doing well. I know. Dad's trying to arrange a position for him at one of his portfolio companies. She twisted her wedding ring, a nervous habit I remembered from childhood. He never meant to. Yes, he did. I cut her off gently. He meant to take everything I'd built because he never believed I could build anything worthwhile. You all did. We were wrong. She reached into her bag. I brought something. From when you were little. It was a faded photograph. Me at age 7, wearing oversized safety goggles, conducting my first experiment with a chemistry set. You were always different, she said. Always quiet, always thinking. We should have seen. You saw what you wanted to see. I handed the photo back. A quiet girl who needed to be more like her ambitious brother. You never noticed I had my own ambitions. And now? What are your ambitions now that you've proved us all wrong? I turned to the window, where construction crews were breaking ground on Nexus Biotech's new research campus. Now, I'm going to cure more diseases, create more breakthroughs, save more lives. Without us? Without interference. I softened slightly. But if you're genuinely interested in understanding my work, the lab tours are on Thursdays. She nodded, understanding the olive branch for what it was. I'll be there. After she left, I went down to my lab, my real home. On my desk was a letter from the Nobel Committee, still unopened. I didn't need their validation anymore. I had something better. Results. My phone buzzed. A text from Michael. Congratulations. I was wrong. Then Dad, you've changed the world, Emma. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. And finally, Dr. Martinez. Ready to start the next revolution. I smiled, picking up my lab coat. Always. Because success isn't just about patents or prizes or proving people wrong. It's about changing the world while they're busy underestimating you. And I was just getting started. 1 year later, I stood in Stockholm accepting the Nobel Prize in Medicine. My family sat in the audience, not as controllers or critics, but as witnesses to what happens when you underestimate the quiet ones. In my acceptance speech, I didn't mention the attempted takeover or the family drama. Instead, I talked about the patients, thousands now, living cancer-free because of our treatment. I talked about the next horizons in medical science, and I talked about the power of quiet determination. Sometimes, I concluded, the biggest breakthroughs come from the people you least expect, the ones working silently while others are talking, the ones changing the world while others are planning to take it. Later that night, in my lab in Stockholm, I looked at my reflection in the window. Nobel laureate, CEO, scientist, the quiet girl who changed the world. My phone buzzed one last time, a message from a young researcher in our lab. Dr. Thorne, I think we found something in the Alzheimer's trials. I smiled, putting on my lab coat. Because this was never about proving them wrong. It was about proving what's possible when you stop listening to those who doubt you and start listening to the quiet voice that says discover, create, revolutionize. And I was still listening.